And earlier today, U.S. Special Representative for International Negotiations, Jason Greenblatt, he tweeted that the Palestinian people have received, quote, a raw deal from the Iranian regime. Greenblatt has said in the past that an Israeli-Palestinian peace deal would be Iran's worst nightmare, as he advocates for Trump's administration's Middle East peace efforts, led, of course, by Jared Kushner. He spoke with Bloomberg's Kevin Cirilli in New York.
Iran and other bad actors in the region use the Israeli-Palestinian conflict to light up the streets. They need to have conflict for their regimes to keep their people happy. It's very unfortunate. They light up the streets in Gaza. The Hamas is being funded by Iran. They don't give a lot of money, but they give enough to keep Hamas happy. Hamas then subjugates nearly 2 million Palestinians. And we are aware that they could be a huge spoiler, and we hope to figure out how to prevent that from happening, because the Palestinian people deserve better than Iran trying to hurt them.
The Palestinians, for their part, have largely boycotted the Trump administration since the Jerusalem embassy decision. Have you managed to get them back to the table at all?
The Palestinian leadership has boycotted us. The Palestinian people have not. We continue to engage far and wide with everyday Palestinians who, even if they disagree with our policies, are deeply interested in what we're trying to do. If you think about the Bahrain conference, for example, the Bahrain workshop, over 1.2 million people downloaded Jared Kushner's business plan for the Palestinian people. There is deep interest in what we're doing among ordinary Palestinians.
When you talk to those Palestinian, in some case, leaders, not the exact leadership, do any of them serve as intermediaries with Palestinian leadership?
There's no official contact between us and the Palestinian Authority, and certainly not with Hamas. We can't forget that Palestinian leadership is divided between two organizations. Many of them say that they have contacts and go back to the Palestinian leadership, but we view them all as private citizens interested in helping the Palestinian people, not people who come with official messages.
Ultimately, do you think you need them at the negotiation table in order to get a deal?
I'll answer in two ways. On the Palestinian Authority side, absolutely. We are not looking for a regime change. President Abbas is the leader of the Palestinians, and we hope that he will be able to come to the table. On the Hamas side, as Hamas exists today, with its vow to destroy Israel, shooting hundreds of rockets, killing Israelis, causing Palestinians to go to the border to try to create trouble, that's a different story. But we do hope to have continued engagement, or an eventual re-engagement with the Palestinian Authority.
Do you think Egypt, Saudi Arabia, do they play a role in helping to get that engagement?
I think all of the region will play a role, or needs to play a role, and each country has their own national interests to worry about. So we hope that there'll be positive engagement, but we're also not going to push any of our allies and friends like Saudi, like Egypt, like Jordan, and so on, into doing something that doesn't make sense for them.
3 weeks ago, just about 3 weeks ago, you spoke at the United Nations. It was a speech that was widely dissected, praised, criticized. One of the things that you said in the speech, quote, "International consensus is too often nothing more than a mask for inaction." In the same speech, you said, quote, "International consensus is not international law." Several U.S. allies criticized that, including Germany, for example. What did you mean by those remarks?
I meant exactly what I said, and I've responded to the German ambassador who distorted, in my view, our message. There is no international consensus about this conflict. There's no international consensus about Jerusalem. Clearly, the United States stands apart when President Trump made his bold and courageous and historic decision, recognizing Jerusalem as the capital. Much of the world disagreed. We couldn't even get an international consensus to condemn Hamas as a terrorist organization. So for people to suggest that there's an international consensus on this conflict is misleading, and it's wrong. And international law, or the UN resolutions about the conflict, are vague. They do not lead to a roadmap on how to resolve the conflict. We think the speech was groundbreaking in its message. Some people have distorted it to say that it was Jason Greenblatt. It wasn't Jason Greenblatt. This was a U.S. speech. It was cleared by all the relevant agencies, and we think an important message for the Security Council and the UN generally to have heard.